so much.
We'll go ahead and get started. So our topic today is Domesticating Cyber Defense, Arming Military Families to Protect the Warfighter on the Cybersecurity Battlefield.
Yeah, just a couple of quick intros. I'm Dr. Laura Jones. Have a PhD in product management, but a focus on risk, and as well, just about to complete a second PhD here at CapTech in cybersecurity leadership. Spent 21 years Army, retired Army, and 7 years with Special Forces, SOCOM, a couple of years with the 101st, jump and slide and doing all the fun stuff. Oh no,
Special Forces.
So had a lot of fun there. Forte is really around risk and cybersecurity risk management and building risk programs. So this particular topic is near and dear to my heart. And so, Tori, introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Tori Dodla. I just graduated here from CapTech. I got a PhD in technology, and my focus was knowledge management. So I'm very excited to present today and assist Dr. Jones in the presentation. She was also my chair when I was here, so I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, great student, great professional. So we're co-presenting. All right, so the agenda, what we want to talk with you about is the need for this topic, give a little bit of, historical perspective, but it really goes back to the need for the domestication of cybersecurity. And then we're going to present what we call a gapless framework. And a lot of this you've heard, but we do want you to think about this in the context of the warfighter and their families. How the families, the military families, can protect the warfighter. We can do more. We can do more to support them. And so this is us talking about a gapless framework so that we can close the gap in that area. Also partnerships. There are a number of organizations, as you already know, that are helping to address this area, not just with cybersecurity, but some are actually trying to assist military family members to make sure that they're cyber safe and cyber secure. But again, I feel that we feel that we can do more in this area, and we've researched this area. There's a lot of research around cybersecurity, of course, around how the military family folds into the process with the warfighter, but just not enough around how we focus or we do not focus enough on the military family member. And then we'll present you with some key takeaways at the end. Sure.
So in today's world, it's becoming easier and easier to find anything that you want very quickly. Here's an example. Wait, let's make sure we have the audio.
So we want to show you a quick video to just demonstrate just how easy it is to find someone with just a little bit of information, like a grain of rice. And you keep collecting grains of rice, you put them in a bowl, and before you know it, you can eat a hearty meal. And so this particular video, she starts out a little bit low, but then the second person comes in nice and clear. So it's this way by design, but we do want to make sure that you can hear it. So we'll get this going for you. Here we go.
Guess where I am right now? Guess where I am?
You don't gotta ask me more than once.
You posted this video the day before. I was able to identify us directly outside this building in Milan, Italy. Figuring you were walking back to the hotel with your ice cream. Started looking for hotels within walking distance east of that location. Before long, I found the hotel you were staying at, the Bulgari Hotel in Milan. I was able to confirm this because this light fixture behind you was able to find any photos of their deluxe, superior, and premium rooms. Strangely enough, the photo behind you wasn't displayed in any of the photos on the hotel's website, but I managed to find it on Instagram photos tagged at the hotel's location. But this is pretty quick, so I decided to also find the hotel you were staying at earlier this week. I was able to tell that this Instagram carousel was taken at the same hotel because that wallpaper behind you can see behind you in this video. Given that you were there for the Challengers premiere in the UK, gave us a rough location of Leicester Square. Once again, your room service gave you away. Right on the napkin they gave you, you can see clear branding that says SOFI, which led me directly to Sofitel London St. James Hotel. Immediately noticed that this little icon right next to their official website, you can see at the top of this cap over here, and this painting above the bed in their superior room, you can see directly behind you in this video. And you know what? one more, just for good measure, which is that this gelato that you're eating over here, you got at this exact location, Sardini and Canada, where you got their tiramisu or ramen cognac ice cream. I'll have to try it for myself sometime.
And sorry that was so loud, but it's just that simple.
So just that easy. Just a piece of information. Who wants to see the video again? Sorry, it was so loud. So, but this is what we're trying to convey here to you, is to communicate that it's just that piece of information that's shared inadvertently, of course, because our family members, and again, we're military, retired military officer. So we get it, and we're not saying that the military family members are just arbitrarily failing us. We all make mistakes. We're all subject to click. We're all subject to open a voicemail with malicious links. We're all subject to get hit by ransomware, and we're subject to everything, and so are they. So that's why there's such a staunch focus. Because even though if we do make those mistakes, it's that our identities can be stolen. Mine was stolen, right? So it can happen, but what we don't want is that downstream impact to the warfighter. We need to protect the people that are protecting us. Y'all get it. I know you get it. So this slide talks a bit about the need. It's not just us saying this is a good idea and we all know this is a good idea, but it's also research. There's a ton of research that talks about, and forgive the example about Army, but we did find that one and wanted to present that, and so we can really relate that to the whole DoD. But if we were to think about cybercrime as a country, the economy of a country, cybercrime in and of itself would be our third largest economy, right behind the US and China. US-China cybercrime. That's pretty significant. And that is to say that these cyber criminals, these cyber attackers are not going to stop. So there is the need. There is the need. We have other information like the cybersecurity for Army family members. The fact sheet there talks about everything from the approach that the Al-Qaeda uses in the Al-Qaeda handbook to information about family readiness groups. And again, they're saying Army, but think DoD. They know that this sensitive information is being posted. And just like if you think about the video, those little snippets of information, forget geolocation. We're talking lamps, we're talking trees, we're talking signs in the background. Easy to figure out where people are. So this is a really important topic that we want to communicate that there needs to be more support for. And all family members, according to Computer Science and Engineering, this particular article in the International Journal says that all family members, as we know, can be involved in several risks. And as a risk manager, a cybersecurity risk manager, we know no organization is exempt from risk. It's an inherent part of life. So we have to address this. And then they also go on to say, while service members go through training on how to be smart with social media, the family members aren't necessarily getting that. Again, we have organizations that offer it. We have organizations that campaign for it. But to what extent? Is it mandatory or really enforced in such a way that it's actually role-based? Think about that for a moment. For those of you that are military, you went through basic training, we did. We all went through that. This is just general training. And then we broke out and went into our job-specific training. That's where the magic happened, because it was very specific. What could we do if we apply that role-based training methodology to the family member? We're not trying to make them military, folks, but they are inherently, and they're supporting the warfighter. So what could we do if we thought more closely about how we could support them from a role-based perspective? All right, so the imperative. So how many people are familiar with this poster in the middle, loose lips ain't ships? Yeah, just about everybody. That's a World War II campaign. They were practicing security awareness back then, probably long before that. Then it was physical, it's these posters. We're no longer running around town with hammers and nails trying to hang up these posters. We're doing it digitally, because that's where the battlefield is. Sure, there's the physical battlefield still, but we have to make sure that we're covering down on cyber security, cyberspace. Everything that's happening through the internet, the posting, the information, the misinformation. So Here we have a collection of posters. They're meant to be sort of progressive, if you will, from a historical perspective, but this imperative still remains. Even from, say, World War II or before that, the message hasn't changed. It's just how we deliver the message. And we're still after making sure that we don't have loose lips that sink ships. So again, back to think about this in the context of protecting the warfighter. What could we do?
So we built a framework called GAPLess. And I'll start with the letter G. So it's very simple. You can do this yourself. Google yourself and see what information about you is out there on the internet. You'd be surprised. You'd find your address, you find your phone number. And after you see it, you can take really simple steps to ask Google to delete it, click on the website, and most of the times they will. Second letter is A. Authenticate and avoid. Always, always, always verify who you are talking to online, especially if you're going to give out any information about yourself. One of the points is job offers. So now you see a lot of recruiters coming after anyone looking for a job. And when your soldiers transition, they'll experience this. They'll say, hey, I'm recruiting for this job. Send me your information. And then you have a security clearance. I need your social security number to verify that in JPass. And that it's always a red flag, right? So they're just out there stealing information. For people who are looking for a job, it's really easy to fall into that trap if you're desperate, if you're promised an interview. So your account connections, always be aware of who you're connected to, who's asking questions and why they need this information, and avoid responding to anything that will reveal password hints, answers to reset your accounts.
Yeah, and on this idea about urgent requests attached to vulnerable situations, I actually had this happen to me recently, like this week. I got a call about a family member who needed some support, an elderly family member. Of course, yeah. There's a tug at your heart, right? And so you want to help, you can help, you're going to help. So, okay, what are the next steps? But at the same time, I'm thinking, why are you calling me at this hour of the evening? It's after hours. So that's first red flag. And I literally asked that. So you guys just make calls this late? Okay, yeah, we're processing, payments process, so we can, really support you with this, and hospitalization, they need support. So I told them to slow down for a minute. So they began to ask me all of these questions and giving me codes. The codes that they were giving me really felt like almost like a script, a piece of script, if you will. It's just the way, this number, close parenthesis, last name, it was really specific. And to the point, I just said, you are definitely a scammer. And well, you gotta do it now, because if not, we're gonna rotate and we won't be able to, that sense of urgency. So all the same things that we teach, all the same things that we know, it can happen to us at any point. So just be aware, but we know that the folks in the room know this, so we're really trying to give you these things as tips and tools to empower back to the military family member. But of course, we can all use this information, because again, I've been working in cybersecurity since 2007. And here it is, I'm really honestly kind of tracking with the person who's on the phone, because I'm thinking, okay, they need my help. But I know enough to say, slow down, something doesn't feel right. The hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. So let me just disconnect so that I can think. Let's slow the strain down. So what happens?
The P is for protect. Protect your knowledge. When knowledge is shared, information can be collected a piece at a time to get the bigger picture. So what's the difference between information and knowledge? Information are those building blocks that create knowledge. Knowledge is basically information that can be understood and applied. And then we have L, adjust your lifestyle. That means just be cognizant and aware of what you post, of what your family posts. And I'll click on this illustration. So imagine you are a soldier showing up to your first duty station. You know you're going to be in an aviation brigade, so you're excited because you think you're going to be sleeping in barracks when you go out to the field. However, your commander says, for this exercise, we are all in tents. No showers, no excuses for 30 days. So you say, okay, fine. You're going to sleep in tents. But halfway through the mission, your commander disappears and he goes off to the rear. No big deal. He's just handling some business. So you take that, you continue to just carry on. And then one day you're sitting in your tent and you're not smelling the best and you're doom scrolling. You're doom scrolling at the end of the day. And what you see on Facebook, your commander's wife posting dinner. She's out having a good time. And in the photos with her is your freshly showered commander who's tipsy and cheesing like a Chester cat. And he's having a good time. Now, half of the organization follows her on Facebook as well. And they all see it. And now everyone is talking about it. There they are having a great time. And then everyone gets upset, right? So this animation, everyone is sad. And while no sensitive information has been leaked, can you imagine how the rest of that mission went? Morale was at an all-time low. So
Just demoralizing. And this is what can happen with information. It's just that quick. Back to the video, back to the illustration. We have to make sure we protect the information for all kinds of reasons. There are so many downstream effects that we're aware of. But again, it's about that heightened sense of awareness and being very targeted because our family members are being targeted. There's research that shows our family members are being targeted. The U.S. Military Academy at West Point released research last year that shows our families are being targeted and very vulnerable to data brokers who are looking for the information to sell at a cost. And they will not hesitate to take our children's information, your children's information, because guess what? They all have Social Security numbers probably within a month after they're born. But when is the next time you actually look at it and use it? Probably till they're ready to get their first job or driver's license. Right? So all of that time in between, that Social Security number is being sold and resold and resold and resold. But that's identity theft. So that's one aspect. But beyond that, how could this information then be used? That research also showed that the warfighters are also exposed to blackmail and exploitation because the information, their sensitive and personal information, is being stolen. So again, it's about educating the family. It's about making sure that we're sharing the message. So be an advocate. Be an advocate, not just within your own families, and we all have to do it. It's the age we live in now. But to be an advocate for the rest of our military members and the rest of our society around the family members and how we can help. I know I'm supposed to be standing over here, that's where the mic is, but I like to walk. And so continue to teach the basics. I think it's important. We all know this stuff, the passwords, and we tell the kids and the young people all the time, don't share your password, don't upload photos, don't do this, don't do that. And then we turn around first day of school, we got the kids at the bus stop with the street sign in the back and the neighborhood sign in the front and school name on the uniform, and we're posted. All right, we're doing all of these sorts of things. I wrote a couple of children's picture books. I'm gonna make a series here, but just about internet safety, internet security, because it is important. We all are at risk, but when we translate that, bring it back to the warfighter, the risk is exponential. Because now we're talking about the lives and security of mass amounts of people who are working to protect our nation, and then as well as our own secrets.
all right, so the first S is stay vigilant. Stay aware and maintain a high level of diligence about your digital presence and how it can be used against you. And regularly update your software and systems.
So seeking resources. We talked a bit about, and there are so many great organizations here at HammerCon. And so many of these organizations here you'll see on the next slide, but you already have programs that are in place. Don't let the programs die. Advocate for those programs to be used and then push a little bit more to maybe work with the DOE, Department of Education, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, whomever, to make sure that we are pushing this information forward. It's too important to just leave in little boxes and little circles. We need to make sure that we're elevating this information and that these partnerships are actually being created. So here are some of those ongoing partnerships and collaborators that aren't necessarily crossing lines to a great deal, to a great extent, but that really could. There are some partnerships. Again, you see it here today, but we could do a better job. We could do a much better job, right? Okay, VA as an example, the Defense DTIC. There are so many more. We just stopped there just to not fill up the slide. But we have some good stuff going on for sure. But the idea of domesticating cybersecurity is bringing it back home. It's role-based. It's making sure it's targeted. It's making sure that our family members are seen and heard and understand that they're such an instrumental part. It's not just about holding out a fort till they get back or we get back. It is really about making sure that they understand what they can do in the meantime, where again, this information isn't being sifted and the bigger picture isn't being created.
So some key takeaways is always stay aware, protect your information, and protect the warfighter and their family. In the hallway, someone asked me, what is domesticating cyber awareness? And I said, do you know what OPSEC is? He said, yeah. I said, it's OPSEC for your grandma. All right, thank you so much. Yeah. And that concludes our presentation. Do we have any questions?
So how do you convince your family members to be vigilant on cybersecurity when they see, like, my fellow soldiers posting too? Like when I'm like, I don't post stuff like that because of OPSEC, of course. And they're like, well, they're doing it, so what's the big deal? Well, I don't care if they're doing it because something can happen to. If someone sees you, whether it's me, you know, come after me, or come after you to get to you, how do you convince your family?
Yeah, I would say just continue to communicate, because I think that's the best thing that we can do, is to continue to communicate and talk with them and let them know the implications. I'm sure you're doing that already. You're absolutely doing that already, I already know. But it's really continuing the conversation, because if each one can reach one, then we can certainly decrease our risk, right? So it goes back to, we don't want to be flipped with our family and say, you know, so because they're doing it, you're going to do it. But that's essentially what we're trying to do, is break that chain, to break that cycle, to be able to say, well, we're not doing it. So that's one less opportunity for, I want to say for but for the others that are looking to cyber attackers, cyber criminals, what state, nation sponsors, whatever it is, to get that information. So you're really just, you're doing the right thing. So I would highlight the fact that you're doing the right thing where other people aren't. And then there are opportunities that you can take to make sure that they understand, as you're looking at this stuff, what the implications are of that. But it's communication.
All right, thank you for joining us today.